My uncle read Eala, amazing, and I felt like a princess.
On April 20th, 2026, at the Cibeles Palace in Madrid, the world's #1 tennis player stepped onto the stage to receive what is often called the Oscars of sport, and left visibly emotional, shaken, and almost unable to speak. That player was Aryna Sabalenka, who had just been crowned Laureus World Sportswoman of the Year after a dominant season in which she firmly established herself as the defining athlete of the year. By every measure, she was the headline of the night. But by the next morning, the conversation had already shifted. A 20-year-old guest, unnominated and without any award waiting at her table, had unexpectedly become one of the most talked about figures on the red carpet. She arrived in a striking gown flown in from Manila, marking her first major red carpet appearance with a quiet confidence that immediately caught attention. Her presence didn't go unnoticed. Within hours, clips of her walk were circulating widely. 6 of her fellow WTA professionals had engaged with her posts. Tennis Channel USA dedicated a standalone segment to her entrance rather than the ceremony itself, and even the official WTA accounts amplified her images. Ranked 44th in the world and not part of the awards list, she had still managed to become one of the defining stories of the night. The question quickly followed: what exactly happened at Cibeles Palace that evening? And why did one of the most prestigious stages in world sports seem to partially shift its spotlight towards someone whose name was never called? The Laureus World Sports Awards are not limited to tennis. They are a global celebration of sporting excellence, where icons like Simone Biles, Nadia Comaneci, Lamine Yamal, Lando Norris, and Rory McIlroy share the same red carpet. Tennis players only truly dominate the night when they achieve something unmistakably historic. In 2026, that distinction belonged to Sabalenka, who had captured 4 titles in 2025, including the US Open, finished the year as world #1, and became only the 5th woman in WTA history to be named Sportswoman of the Year. The stage, by all expectations, was built for her. Ia was invited as a guest to the event, and she had just 1 week to decide what to wear. That decision, made in roughly 7 days and executed across 2 continents, became the starting point of everything that followed that night. To understand the impact, you first have to understand the structural reality she stepped into. She is ranked number 44 in the world and holds no WTA title. She arrived in Madrid without a protected seating, meaning in the second round she was drawn against Elise Mertens, a seeded player who had beaten her in their previous encounter. On paper, the system sees her as mid-tier, still building, still improving at the very top level. But the same system tells a different story when you look deeper. The ranking is based on a rolling 52-week calculation, and it has not yet caught up with her 2026 form. In the current WTA race standings, she sits inside the top 10, despite officially being ranked 44th. That gap between the 2 numbers is the clearest statistical proof that what she is producing on court and what the ranking reflects are not aligned. This is not a question of talent. It is a question of how institutions measure time, momentum, and emergence. And it's important to be fair to the Sabalenka side of the story as well. Aryna Sabalenka's presence at the Laureus Awards was completely justified. She had delivered the most dominant season in women's tennis in 2025, and the ceremony was designed to honor exactly that level of achievement. There is no direct conflict between the 2 athletes themselves. The tension exists in the structure of the night, where the official narrative of the awards and the viral narrative of the event began to diverge. Just a day before the ceremony, Nadal had already acknowledged this emerging wave. Speaking as Deputy General Manager of the Rafa Nadal Academy, the place where Eala has trained since she was 13, she told Sportska, "What she's doing is incredible. It's wonderful to see the affection she receives all over the world," she said. "She's an inspiration to many boys and girls in the Philippines. She's an amazing girl, very humble." That statement came before the dress arrived, before the red carpet moment, and before anything that would later follow. The story truly begins with a phone call. Roughly a week before the Laureus ceremony, I reached out to her uncle, Aryna Eala, in the Philippines. Rhett is not an emerging designer or a small-scale hobbyist. He is an established Filipino fashion designer with experience and reputation. During that call, I shared a deeply personal request. She told him she wanted to wear a Filipiniana to the red carpet, the traditional formal wear of the Philippines, something she had dreamed about for years. In a later press conference, she reflected on it clearly. "I've always had a dream that if I were on a red carpet, I would wear a Filipiniana." It wasn't a branding decision or a media strategy. It was a private vision she had carried long before global attention found her. Rhett took on the responsibility immediately. He designed the gown, sourced the materials, and oversaw production under an extreme timeline. Within days, the piece was completed and shipped from Manila to Madrid. What arrived was a full beige chiffon gown with a pleated tube silhouette, paired with a cropped piña fabric bolero featuring the iconic butterfly sleeves. That detail is not decorative. It is the defining structure of the Filipiniana, the Philippine national formal dress. And the piña fabric itself carries its own meaning, made from pineapple leaf fibers. It is one of the most labor-intensive natural textiles in the world, requiring thousands of individual fiber extractions per meter and produced almost exclusively in the Philippines. It cannot be replicated or sourced elsewhere. Every thread in that bolero carries a direct connection to a specific place, craft, and cultural identity. It cannot be replicated in any other country by any other hand. She chose the piña fabric specifically for the bolero top, a detail later confirmed by Aryna Eala in a Metro-style exclusive interview published on April 21, 2026. At an awards ceremony attended by athletes representing dozens of nations, Eala stood as the only person on that red carpet wearing the formal heritage costume of her country. While everyone else wore designer gowns shaped by global fashion houses, she wore something different. She wore the Philippines. What followed on social media was not a typical fan reaction. It became something closer to a tour-level response, a moment where active professionals in the sport paused their own schedules to acknowledge what they had just seen. 6 current WTA players, not commentators, not media figures, but ranked competitors in the middle of tournament week, engaged directly with a single Instagram post. Coco Gauff, US Open champion and world number 4 at the time, left a simple but striking comment. "Beautiful." Victoria Mboko, one of the breakout names of 2025, responded with ridiculous, in this context, a form of admiration. Katie Boulter, British number 1, wrote, "Absolutely stunning." Eva Liss added, "Just passed away by this beauty." Eva Jovic responded with a short, "OMG," while Camilo Osorio of Colombia called her "hermosa," meaning beautiful. This comment section was not a casual audience reaction. It was a documented moment of peer recognition. Ranked professionals responding to a ranked professional during an active competitive week. Engagement like this is voluntary. It requires stopping mid-focus, observing, and deciding that what you're seeing is worth acknowledging. No other player present at the Laureus ceremony generated that kind of concentrated peer response. Even broadcast media reacted in its own way. Tennis Channel, an American network primarily known for covering Sabalenka, Djokovic, and the Grand Slams, produced a standalone segment titled Alexandra Eala on walking the glorious red carpet, focusing entirely on her entrance rather than the ceremony itself. Not a clip from the ceremony broadcast, not a sidebar. This time it was a dedicated segment on a guest. The WTA's own official social media account also amplified Eala's appearance separately, placing her image within the same institutional stream as the award winners themselves. For fans who had been following her since the Australian Open, there was nothing surprising about the reaction. what they understood, and what the broader mainstream audience struggled to fully articulate, was that the ranking does not always reflect what is actually unfolding on court or around the sport. That night in Madrid simply made the disconnect impossible to ignore. The deeper issue is structural. The number and the reality are operating in different time zones. There is one data point that makes this especially clear. In the most recent WTA race standings, the system that resets every January and tracks only current season performance at major tournaments, Eala sits inside the top 10 with 772 points. That means while she is officially ranked 44th in the world, she is producing results at a top 10 pace in the current season. This gap exists because the two systems measure different versions of time. The regular WTA ranking operates on a 52-week rolling cycle, meaning results are constantly being added and removed. When Eala reached the Miami Open semifinal in 2025, she earned a significant points boost. But when she followed it up with a round of 16 run in 2026, still a strong performance, she actually dropped 16 places in the rankings. Not because she declined, but because her older success expired from the system at the exact same time new results were being added. In other words, the ranking had not finished catching up to her trajectory, while the race already had. Even the man who co-hosted the Laureus ceremony that night, the same figure whose name was on the marquee and who walked that red carpet just hours before Eala's arrival, had already publicly acknowledged the kind of player she is. With 24 Grand Slam titles and 5 Laureus awards of his own, Novak Djokovic has spent his career sharing stages with every generation of modern tennis greatness. By 2026, his presence at major events had long become part of the sport's global baseline. On January 23, 2026, during a press conference at the Australian Open, he was asked about court overcrowding. He wasn't asked about Aryna Eala specifically, but the situation had already gone beyond a simple scheduling issue. Her matches and appearances had begun creating crowd demand that tournaments were struggling to manage, turning logistics into a visible talking point at one of tennis's biggest events in the Southern Hemisphere. Djokovic's response reframed the situation entirely. She has been the biggest ever tennis player from that country, which is a big country, and there's a big interest. Having too much crowd is a very good problem, he said. A very good problem. A phrase that acknowledged not just popularity, but institutional adjustment. Courts filling beyond expectation, corridors becoming congested, and organizers being forced to respond in real time to demand generated by a 20-year-old player. 3 months later, Djokovic co-hosted the Laureus ceremony, where Eala walked the red carpet in her uncle's gown. The contrast was striking. One of the most decorated athletes in history on stage as an official figure of the night, and a rising player whose presence generated parallel attention throughout the event. At one point, she took a selfie with Djokovic and Iga Swiatek, captioning it, "Sandwiched between greatness." His name was on the marquee. Hers was circulating across timelines, comment sections, and broadcast clips. What the Laureus night ultimately revealed is that this story extends beyond a single ceremony or ranking system. It is unfolding across different stages simultaneously, some official, some viral, and some still in the process of being understood by the institutions that are trying to measure it. Eala is currently active at the Madrid Open, where her second-round match against Elise Mertens is scheduled for April 24th. Her draw has opened up a potential pathway toward the quarterfinals at this WTA 1000 event in Madrid. If that progression holds, it could set up a quarterfinal scenario that includes Aryna Sabalenka, the 3-time defending champion in Madrid, and the player now chasing a record 4th consecutive title at this venue. It creates a rare possibility. The reigning dominant force of the tournament and the rising player who shared a red carpet at Laureus only days earlier could end up facing each other on court within the same week. After Madrid, the calendar shifts to Rome for the Internazionale BNL d'Italia from May 5th to May 18th. Eala enters that tournament with 0 points to defend, meaning every result she produces is a net gain. In ranking terms, this is a clean slate phase, no historical results dragging her backward, only forward movement available. That structural reset continues into Roland Garros, running May 26th through June 8th. Again, she carries no points to defend in Paris, which makes the clay swing uniquely significant for her ranking trajectory. If Madrid and Rome produce deep runs, she could enter Roland Garros seated inside the top 35, depending on how the surrounding field performs. Roland Garros also represents something larger than rankings alone. With its global audience, its clay court tradition, and its strong Filipino and Asian diaspora presence in Paris, it is a tournament where narrative often extends beyond scorelines. It is historically a stage where momentum, identity, and performance converge, and where emerging players can shift from storylines to status. If the current trajectory continues, the conversation that began at Sibley's Palace would not be ending. It would simply be moving to its next chapter. This was always where the trajectory was pointing. The race numbers had been building toward a clay season reckoning for months. What the Laureus night did was not create the story, but frame it, place it in formal wear under the most photographed lights in world sport, so that when the results arrived, the world already understood the shape of the narrative surrounding them. But the structural reality underneath all of this remains uncompromising. Eala enters her second-round match against Elise Mertens unseeded. Mertens is the 19th seed, an established top-tier opponent with experience, structure, and a previous win over her in their only prior meeting. In a draw without protected seeding, every round becomes a direct test against someone the system considers stronger on paper. That is the tension at the center of her current position. The system says she should not consistently be winning these matchups, yet the race standings reflect that she has been doing exactly that across the season. But no ranking, whether it shows top 10 race points or world number 44, changes the difficulty of a single match. Each point still has to be earned in real time against opponents who do not adjust their level to narrative momentum. The piña fabric from Madrid does not matter on clay. Instagram comments do not influence a return game. Djokovic's framing of crowd dynamics does not create breakpoints. Tennis, at this stage, remains unaffected by symbolism once the match begins. And Stuttgart, where Eala lost in the first round to Leylah Fernandez 1-6, 4-6 just 3 weeks earlier, is a reminder of that instability. The race ranking reflects accumulated success over time, not guaranteed outcomes in the present. It measures trajectory, not immunity. The ranking system has not fallen behind in a simple sense. It is doing what it is designed to do, record verified results across time. But verified evidence in tennis is slow because it requires repetition under pressure across surfaces against opponents who are constantly adjusting. And that is the final reality the system cannot shortcut. Nothing in her recent visibility, narrative, or momentum replaces the requirement to win the hardest matches on the hardest days. There is no softening available here. Eala is ranked number 44 because the system counts what the system is designed to count. She is 10th in the race because she has beaten higher-ranked players at bigger events than a player outside the top 40 is typically expected to reach. Both truths exist at the same time, even if they point in different directions. That tension is what makes the Mertens match on April 24th more than just another second round. It becomes the point where those two versions of reality meet on the same court, not in a ceremony, not on a carpet, but over the course of roughly an hour on red clay at altitude, where nothing outside the lines carries any weight. The morning after her red carpet appearance, she had already returned to competition and won her opening round match in 1 hour and 31 minutes. In her post-match press conference, she was asked about tennis, about clay, about performance. And then, almost as an aside, she revisited the moment that had captured global attention. "I've always had a dream that if I were on a red carpet, I would wear a Filipiniana," she said. "My uncle is a well-known fashion designer in the Philippines, so we called him up. I wanted this. In a couple of days, it was shipped out. He delivered, and I felt like a princess." It was not delivered as a headline. It was not framed as a statement. It was spoken the way athletes often speak after matches, directly, briefly, without emphasis, as if the extraordinary had already been absorbed into routine. The dress is no longer part of the competition. The racket is. The dream has already been documented, the moment already archived. And now, everything shifts back to the only place where the tension between ranking and reality can actually be resolved, on court. Recall the moment Novak Djokovic stood in Melbourne in January and referred to a 20-year-old's crowd poll as a very good problem, a phrase that quietly reframed her rising popularity as something the sport itself would have to accommodate. Then recall that just 3 months later, he stood as co-host of the Laureus World Sports Awards in Madrid, the same night she walked the red carpet and became, if not the center of the ceremony, then undeniably one of its most discussed presences, even at an event formerly belonging to the sport's reigning #1. Recall also what happened before that moment ever reached the cameras. Her uncle in Manila sourcing piña fiber within days, moving through one of the most labor-intensive textile traditions in the world, and shipping a national costume across continents to meet a deadline that did not allow delay or repetition. A gown was not just designed, it was constructed through urgency, heritage, and distance, until it arrived on the most photographed carpet in world sport. Then recall the reaction it generated. 6 active WTA professionals across countries, rankings, and schedules paused their tournament week to engage with a single post. Words like beautiful, ridiculous, absolutely stunning, and just passed away by this beauty appeared not from fans, but from peers, ranked athletes responding to a ranked athlete in real time without prompting or obligation. And finally, recall Aryna Sabalenka, the most dominant and composed player of her generation, standing before a room filled with the greatest athletes in the world and admitting something far less controlled than her usual competitive posture. "I'm shaking right now," she said. "I have goosebumps." That is what overwhelmed looks like in that context. Not anger, not conflict, but the most unguarded emotional moment of Sabalenka's public career. A champion momentarily destabilized by the weight of the occasion, by the company, by the recognition of scale. She earned every tremor, and on that same night, simultaneously, without coordination or intent, the comment section of a Filipiniana gown was filling with responses from across the women's tour, as if 2 different narratives of the sport were unfolding in parallel, one on stage under global spotlight, and one circulating quietly through the networks of players themselves. That is what steals the red carpet means, not taking anything away from Sabalenka, but adding something else to the night. A ranked number 44 player, 10th in the race, with no nomination and no seat at the awards table, walking into the Oscars of sport in a handmade Filipiniana, and leaving with something that cannot be measured in trophies or formal recognition. The feeling was documented and undeniable. The sense that an entire country had walked into that room with her, carried through fabric, identity, and presence rather than status. She didn't go to Sibily's palace to receive anything. What she delivered instead was representation at a scale the ceremony wasn't structured to quantify, something emotional, cultural, and collective that sat alongside the official awards rather than inside them. Now, the focus shifts back to where tennis always resolves its contradictions, the court. With 0 points to defend at Roland Garros and currently sitting 10th in the race, the clay season does offer a clear opportunity to break into the top 30, but only if results match the trajectory the race has been suggesting. A deep run in Madrid or Rome would make that pathway realistic. Paris would then be the confirmation point rather than the starting point. If she reaches a quarterfinal at Roland Garros, she would almost certainly become one of the central stories of the tournament, not because narratives override champions, but because in Grand Slams, performance and attention tend to align. Whether she becomes the most talked about player would still depend on match outcomes, draw dynamics, and who ultimately goes on to win the title. The key distinction is this: attention is not assigned in advance, it is earned round by round. The clay season will either translate race momentum into ranking position, or it won't. Everything so far has pointed upward, but tennis only ever confirms things in points. And that's where the next chapter actually begins. Mertens, then Rome, then Paris. Each one reducing narrative into results until only the scoreboard is left to speak.